I beat KYC. That is KYC, know your customer. That's identity verification, and most crypto exchanges don't want to support US citizens using those exchanges due to US regulations. So if you want to be able to use any crypto exchange, you have to be a resident of another country, you have to set up a shell corporation, you need money to do these things. But for me to get this Palau ID, I just needed $248 and 27 days. That's how long it took from filling out the application to receiving the ID in the mail. And you're probably also wondering, does this ID actually get you KYC approved on crypto exchanges? It does, and I'm going to go over the ones that worked and didn't work later in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dan. I make crypto content occasionally. Not so, yeah, I take my time. And I just try to make content that is helpful, and especially in a very restrictive environment. Now, none of this is illegal, it is just a legal loophole. Exchanges don't want US residents on their exchanges, and for you to use that exchange, you have to prove you're not a US resident. Now, the legality of you living in the US or not, and using these things and these loopholes, that's up to you. This is just information that is publicly available. I, myself, do not live in the US just because I have options. And once again, you need money to have those options. And that's because I was an early crypto investor and got lucky for the most part. Not wealthy, but enough to do stuff. All right, getting into the video. So this was all possible with the RNS ID, and before we get into things, we gotta look at these disclaimers. The Republic of Palau kindly asks you to respect the laws of your current place of residence. Palau Digital Residency ID only enables you to gain access to the services that are available to Palau. Please note, a Palau Digital Residency ID serves as an identification document, not a certification of citizenship. So just because you are a digital resident doesn't mean you are a citizen of Palau. Now, Palau does not impose taxes on income you make outside of Palau. So no extra taxes there. With the Palau Digital Residency ID, you can make an extension of 180 days of stay per entry. So you can stay longer in Palau if you choose to, just because you have this ID. That is an additional benefit. Many countries typically don't tax their citizens or foreigners if they stay for less than 180 days. Exceptions do exist, such as the United States. Now, the United States taxes all citizens, regardless if they live in the US or not. So keep that in mind. Please always stay on top of the tax obligations in your current country or residence. Got it. Now, I just wanted to read all that because I know you're not going to, so now we got those disclaimers out of the way. So what is the Palau Digital Residency Program? It is a legal ID that is Web3 compatible, meaning that you can have your ID represented as an NFT or attached to an NFT or not. That's up to you. And the benefits of that is KYC with institutions. Those are crypto exchanges mostly. You can open accounts, asterisk, ID checks in hotel, check-in, train tickets, and a Palau physical mailing address. When I applied for crypto exchanges, which we'll see later in this video, some of them asked for an address, and I just provided the address that was on the back of my ID, which is the Digital Residency PO Box, and that worked. And as for the phone number, I used a US phone number just to make sure that would be acceptable, and it was. I got approved for several major exchanges, not the biggest ones, but you'll see. Now, there's two ways to get approved for digital residency. That's either through the ID program or the Voyager Pass. The Voyager Pass is their NFT, and it does cost a little more at 0.15 ETH. It comes with 1 year Palau ID access, RNS points, which don't necessarily have a value at the moment. I'm not really familiar with it. A lot of this stuff is still in its early stages, and a discount on using those points. For myself, I didn't really understand it when I applied because I would have got the NFT if I knew about it, and I thought the ID was, the ID. I just wanted the ID, so that's what I applied for, and that cost $248, and it does increase in price if you want the 1 year, 5 year, or 10-year program. But if you are applying for KYC on an exchange, they typically ask you once. You are not doing KYC yearly, and even if you have to do KYC every several years, it might be worth it to just apply again the year you need it because, yeah, I applied and I got the card in less than a month. Now, if you choose to just get the ID, we're going to quickly go over the application process. You're going to have to provide a lot of your personal information. It's not like a social security number or anything, but just like information about yourself. You would have to provide your passport with whichever country you have one at the moment. Even if that is the US, you would still be eligible for this Palau residency program. And during the application process, you will be required to include a photo that is your passport photo ID. And yeah, it's kind of an awkward photo that I have because I had to frame up the camera and I was just using a selfie. And you might notice I'm wearing a suit in this photo, but that's because I have Photoshop and they use AI text. So I just added a suit and hey, pretty good. So feel free to take a few liberties with the photo you do provide. And this is my personal timeline of events of the application process. June 17, I started it and I just kind of took my time with it, but I got it all done in the same day. June 20, I received a notification that my application was approved and I'm now a digital resident of Palau, and my ID was in the printing queue. That was on June 20. 18 days later, I received an email that the physical ID has been shipped, and on July 14, my ID arrives. The entire process took 27 days. And now that I have my Palau physical ID, it was time to apply for some crypto exchanges. Let's see which ones will actually approve me. Starting off with one of the top dogs, Binance. I went through the application process, I selected Palau as my country of residence, and they only accept passports. I still tried to continue using the ID, but they rejected it and my KYC failed. So with Binance, at least at the moment, you cannot get KYC approved. But I successfully got KYC approved with other exchanges like BitGet, Bybit, KuCoin, Pionex, Tidex, and Kraken. Kraken was a surprise because it's another major, well-known exchange. And if you use their international version as opposed to the US version, you have access to more services because in the US, they can't provide services like staking or any of the earn programs. So that is one of the major benefits to having a KYC'd account on an international crypto exchange. You get access to a lot of different products and services, which gives you more opportunities, especially when it comes to crypto. Now, this is only because the US regulations on crypto exchanges on what they can provide and can't provide is a little unclear, so they try to steer on the safe side. But if you want opportunities, you really have to turn to DeFi or international crypto exchanges. And if you want to sign up for the Palau Digital Residency Program, I do have a referral link in the description, but feel free to share yours. Not as a link though, just the actual referral code, and share it in the comments. Otherwise, links get auto-spammed, by YouTube, so it's not going to show up. And yeah, if you want to help out another person in the comments, please do that first. You don't really need to help me. I don't know what these points do. We'll figure that out when it does become available. Also to note, the RNS ID Digital Palau program mentions that they are going to provide a physical address, a phone number, utility bills, and all of that in future enhancements. That is in their roadmap, but for the time being, those aren't available. But you can still get KYC approved on a lot of different crypto exchanges. Some of the exchanges didn't even ask for the ID. They just said, hey, do you live outside the US? And I said, yes, and then they said KYC approved. You'll see that during the process when you do that too. And personally, I wouldn't just start trying to use that exchange as a US resident without having anything to back that up, because if something happens, it might be difficult to get your funds off that exchange. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. Thanks for liking it. That's always helpful. And links are in the description, especially if you want to sign up for a crypto exchange. There are links for that too, and that helps out this channel. And of course, I try to make sure you get your full value, so there are incentives for you to use my links rather than others or no link at all. And I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Wait, that's not my sign off. And I hope we all got our full value for today.